in the end of 2019, I couldn't pinpoint what was this kun or trap was referring to. I thought it had to do with the international trade war between the US and China. Later did we realize that globally, millions of lives had become trapped.
Hi, I'm Wayne. Now, we all know that 2020 has been a very challenging year for everyone. I myself have experienced the brunt of it with numerous obstacles presented in many parts of my life this year. So I want to find out, why did 2020 turn out this way from a Chinese metaphysics perspective? So joining me today is Feng Shui Master Jason Chan, who have been practicing and consulting in Feng Shui and Bazi for more than 10 years. I hope we can be enlightened with an explanation on what happened in 2020, explained with Feng Shui. Jason, thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Now Jason, as we know, today with 2020 in our hindsight, more than 1.6 million people have died from the coronavirus and millions are losing their jobs and livelihood. We know that the massive implications of COVID-19 on our lives, as many people like me will start to think critically about our jobs, how we work, our health and other financial realities in the wake of the coronavirus. So Jason, can you explain with Feng Shui what exactly happened?
Very well summarized for what happened in 2020. So what I think we experienced was the onset of the start of a new zodiac cycle. 2020 was the year of the rat, and rat is the first animal sign of the zodiac. So if you draw back to every 12 years in history, something big usually happened then. The most recent was during the global financial crisis in 2008, which took the world by surprise. No one really saw that big 100-year-old companies like Lehman Brothers would collapse. If not for the bailout by the government, many brands would have been wiped out. So in 2020, we witnessed a global pandemic, which also no one foresaw, and so literally overnight, people's lives will change, especially in terms of how we work and play.
Interesting, Jason. So now let's talk about work first. As you said, literally overnight, our CBD areas became deserted. So what used to be bustling shopping malls during the circuit breaker became locations that looked more like they were shoots for the zombie apocalypse movie. And even hawker centres and markets were forced to close. So why were people's work lives affected?
Okay, on this, I'd like to draw to the reading in the I Ching back in November 2019, where I discovered that I Ching alluded us to a year of being trapped, kun. It was supposed to be a year when businesses will be slow and difficult. People find it hard to proceed or progress with many obstacles placed in the policies. People will also be more fearful, and also they try to manage their risk more carefully. But at the time, in the end of 2019, I couldn't pinpoint what was this kun or trap was referring to. I thought it had to do with the international trade war between the US and China. Later did we realize that globally, millions of lives had become trapped.
Then there's also people's health. More than 70 million people have contracted the virus worldwide. So while more than half of them have recovered, millions are still in hospitals or under quarantine. Can Feng Shui explain this?
Yes and no, Wayne. Why I say this is because 2020 wasn't really a year of pandemic, but yet one happened. That's probably due to the mismanagement of information, which is the ren element instead. And even our Singapore government advising the general public initially it's okay not to wear masks. That caused the disease to spread. Looking back, this is my deduction why this COVID-19 became out of control.
Okay, so finally let's touch on the economy. Globally, we see businesses suffer. Big corporations have closed down. Just like in Singapore, we see big names like Robinsons, Esprit, Sportslink, even our iconic revolving restaurant, the Prima Tower, is shutting down one after another. But strangely, the stock market seems to be still holding and didn't crash like many economists predicted. Has Feng Shui anything to do with this?
First, we have to understand that the stock market and the mainstream market are two different things. So when we talk about stock market, it's always forward-looking. So while countless businesses have shut down, causing the economy to a standstill, the investors in the stock market don't see it that way. Hence, there's some form of disconnection. But there's an interesting observation that I have made during my study into global economy. Every 20 years, which make up a period where there are two bull cycle and two bear cycle. In this 20 years period, in 2004, we have already experienced a bull run in the mid-2000. then a bear downturn in 2008, then a very long bull recovery from 2013 to about 2019. Personally, I think a bear market is due, but investors are not saying that way. So we really have to take this into consideration with regards to the global economy.
Thank you, Jason, for enlightening us on how Feng Shui can explain what happened to us in 2020 amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's certainly an insight for me to understand that there are hints presented if we look deep enough and can decipher the meaning correctly.
Yes, certainly. It's really all about being attentive to look at the right signs at the right time. And of course, most important is about taking the actions related to the signs that we read. If we don't take necessary actions, we will not move forward.
Totally agree. So what does that mean if we apply the same principles? Does that mean that we can actually have a clue on what 2021 will bring us? Perhaps let me ask you that again the next time we meet.
Yeah, sure.
So there you have it. 2020 explained to us with Feng Shui. Stay tuned to the next video where I get to consult with Feng Shui Master Jason Chan again. But this time we'll find out what 2021 has in store for us.